Hey, it's 9 o'clock on the dot. First from Nation finna rock. Hey, what's going
In
on,
my
fam?
drop
Good
top.
morning. Good.
Don't forget, baby.
Oh,
Don't
see,
forget
there
about
you
the
go.
drop
Drop.
top.
I don't have a drop top. You know.
I
Yeah,
do. My bad. My bad. I do.
yeah,
My bad.
yeah, yeah. I ain't got a. I ain't got a can and whatnot. You don't got a can. I ain't got a shot. You know what I'm saying? Sweet shot or
You know it is
Yeah,
what it
you,
is.
you know how you do. But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on? Come on, fall in. It's first formation sports talk, morning sports talk. It's me, your boy Trey, my man Bishop, and of course, special guest, just as we had last time, back for the second time, Ron Loe. What's going on, fellas? What's good with you?
Hey,
Hey man,
hey.
what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing this morning, man? It's WGO. What's going on? What's going on? Y'all know what it is. It's Monday. We had a huge weekend in football and NFL this weekend, man. Man, shouts out to the NFL and those players for giving us a show this weekend, y'all, because it was a show. What did you think about it, Ron?
It was a show. It was a show. What as I was telling Trey, I'm hurting because them
Yeah.
49ers did my boys in.
Yeah.
Most
Trey a little excited today. Y'all know Trey's excited because his
Yeah, let's
49ers did
get
come
it.
out on top and made some things happen.
Cause
So,
they
man,
had me
Can't
shouts
quaking
out
for
to
stand
them.
real.
for it.
They had me quaking. I ain't gonna even lie.
Uh,
I just
uh, uh,
knew it was a wrap.
uh,
I was like, oh, come on, man. Especially with I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of counting on New Orleans losing, even though I set up and said they probably would win based on who they was playing. But
mhm.
and you know what I'm saying, even I'll be honest, I did not believe in Jimmy G. And I just thought that, you know what I'm saying, that's why I had to rely on New Orleans to win. But Jimmy
But
G came
what
out.
he did his thing. He did his thing. Well, Jimmy, I'll put it like this, right? Let me keep it 100, y'all. Let me keep it 100. Trey, don't get too excited
I hope we ain't
because
about to start
We was just
praising
talking.
Jimmy
don't
G
get too
around here.
excited because
We done,
Jimmy G, hold on. Jimmy G he did a little something. He didn't do a whole
okay.
lot. It was the run game that really kept y'all in that. And
Yeah,
when
true,
Jimmy
true,
G
true.
needed to throw, he did throw and make some key throws when he needed to.
So what I realized,
However,
of course,
go ahead.
go ahead, because before you got jumped into the before you jumped into the studio, we was just talking about that. Like, yeah, we got Willie beaming Jimmy G yesterday,
Yeah.
but next week we might get Al Bundy Jimmy G.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying. So it's like I can't. It's like
Yeah.
I don't know which Jimmy it won't get or whatever case like that. Like he's a manager at this point. We're holding it with the run game, but I just don't know. We play Dallas next week. Um,
And I'm so hoping y'all beat them. I am so hoping y'all beat them. Y'all know, and I know y'all Dallas fans, y'all all excited and hoorah, yeah. It's like I told you, Trey. All the Dallas fans was on my timeline on Saturday talking about "Look, what about them Cowboys? Man, Jalen Hurts didn't even play, man. We had Minshew. Really? Minshew? Come on, man. Seriously, y'all supposed to win. Y'all really are supposed to win that game. It wasn't a
They
it wasn't
barely
a
got
big
away.
game. And yeah, it wasn't a big game or nothing like that. It didn't decide whether who was making the playoffs. We made the playoffs regardless, just like y'all made the playoffs. But
mhm.
my thing is, Trey and Ron, the shocker game that I picked. Them Jaguars got a hold of them Colts, baby. Them Jaguars got a hold
Yeah.
of them Colts.
Hold up.
I was so happy, bro.
Let's keep it real. You put that was a hate
Hey,
game.
it happened. It happened. I picked it and it happened. I said I said the Jaguars. I picked the Jaguars to upset the Colts, and it happened, and it knocked them out the playoffs. I'm so happy. Man, I'm so happy.
So matter of fact,
That just erased the fact my Eagles lost, being the fact that the Colts lost to the Jaguars. That erased everything for me. I'm good.
so let's start there. Of course, you talk about the Indianapolis Colts faced off against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Colts, unfortunately, with an opportunity to put themselves in the playoffs, they had one job yesterday, was to sit up and get the W against what was perceived as to be a lesser opponent in the Colts. I mean, in the Jaguars. Of course, it wasn't. They lost 26-11. Carson Wentz finished with 17 completions for 29 attempts, 185 yards with one touchdown and one interception. Even more so, that was glaring is the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars defense held Jonathan Taylor They was the kryptonite. 15 carries for 77 yards. That was unheard of. We wouldn't expect that. I mean, 77 isn't nothing to sneeze at, but you don't expect that from for
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor. Trevor Lawrence, 23 completions, 32 attempts, 223 yards, 2 interceptions, two touchdowns, no interceptions.
No
Fellas, what
interceptions.
y'all got to say about that? Did the sunshine show up at the right time, or was that just what y'all said Wentz is who y'all thought he is, or who you say he is?
I'm gonna let Ron get it because I'm
We was
eat Wentz action.
expecting major things from Taylor. I mean, they was talking about him having a possible 200-yard game, as he has done before against the Jags, and him getting over 2,000 yards for the season. So it was an incredible disappointment. I think the easy target, of course, is Carson Wentz, and let's attack him. But he is a decent quarterback. He's not top 10, barely top 20, but he's a capable quarterback who should be able to handle these moments. I think it was just a collapse by the entire organization. Lemon booty all around, from the coach to running back to defense.
For me, man, it is what I said it was. I told y'all. Now, you mind y'all, the Colts past couple of weeks, they done beat the Arizona Cardinals, they done beat the New England Patriots, and they lose to the Jaguars. They lose to a 2-14-15 team. They lose to the Jaguars. Man, I was so happy. Carson Wentz is exactly who I said he was. D-O-D-O. Do. I told you, Carson Wentz. I mean, don't get me wrong. He got his little, he did what he did when he was out there in Philly, in my beloved Philly. He was, looking at rookie of the year and all of that good stuff. And then he got hurt and so forth and so on. But I said it way before. What up, Key? How you doing? What's up, Miss Williams? I said it way before that, Carson Wentz is who he is, man. Carson Wentz is who he is. He showed his true self, and they lost. All they had to do.
Thank you, sir.
You could have left that part out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anywho, he did exactly what I expected him to do. They got in there and took an L from a team with a losing record. Trevor Lawrence came out there, did what he had to do, threw some nice passes, man. Put the Jaguars up, and they never looked back. Never looked back. So I mean, give my shots to Trey Lance. Trey, keep saying Trey Lance.
Trevor Lawrence. I think it's some of that eagle in you, because you still cover that Carson Wentz. I mean, the main aspect of the Colts offense is run game. They open up the gates. First drive, let the Jaguars score 7. By the end of the quarter, it's 16-3. Then Carson Wentz, running back, fumbles the ball to start the second quarter. They was not really helping my guy. It's the whole entire Colts. Like, how are you letting the Jaguars get 26 points on you when they average for season like 13 point something? They completely took away the ability that the Colts used the most, which is running the ball. They had to go to pass offense from the first quarter. And I think it shook them up. They started getting the goosebumps.
It's just hard. I get it.
It's not much you can say about it, man. It's because it's a shocker. But I mean, this weekend pretty much summed up. Everybody knows like this. Yesterday's games was the last regular season games for the NFL. Regular season. Now we in the post season. And last night, a lot of those games over the weekend pretty much sums up how the NFL season was. It was some major upsets this weekend. Teams that we did not expect to win. The Browns won. The Lions won. Come on, man. Like, there's teams that we did not expect to win and won the game. And of course, in the Jaguars won. There are teams that no one, like, I know there are people out there who bet, and it was probably upset this morning, like mad upset, because there's teams that I'm sure that they bet on that they just knew they were going to get a win. Now, Trey, you and I spoke about, the Packers and the Lions game, and the Lions, another team with what, 3 wins? And
4 wins.
They got 4? Well, we yesterday made 4. Yeah, yesterday
Yeah,
May 4th.
yeah. It was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Before that.
So yesterday May 4th. So they upset the Packers. But again, we it was up in the air if Aaron Rodgers was gonna play. He played the first half, and then they allowed Jordan Love to come in. And so it is what it is. But I mean, man, you that's how you end the NFL season, man. The same way you started it. The same way the season started, that's how the season ended.
The Lions broke my
So
heart.
first,
Yeah.
Facebook user, we not gonna omit this. We got your question. We're coming to it, but we want to get through these games. But definitely, it's a bunch of firings. It was a carousel firing frenzy this morning when it came to coaches, and some key things in which we want to speak about. So we'll get to you shortly, sir. But back to Deontay. Next game, them Steelers didn't think it was gonna happen and made it happen. Of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers faced off against the Bartland, of course, correct, the
Bartland,
the
what?
the Baltimore Ravens. Ben Roethlisberger, 30 completions for 44 out of 44 attempts, 244 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Interestingly enough, Chase Claypool led the rushing attack with 3 rushes for 33 yards. Najee Harris followed up with 11 for 28, and Benny Snell 12 for 22. The Ravens, Tyler Huntley 16 for 31, 141 yards passing, 2 interceptions. I thought it was out of reach, but you know what I'm saying. I'll let y'all go ahead and rock with Bishop. What you got to say about the Steelers?
I mean, the Steelers played the Ravens.
Time to coach of the year?
You got to give it. I mean, I don't see. I mean, it's hard to. Well, I don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans coach, what's his name, was leading the charge. And he still should get enormous consideration. But the Steelers sneaking in at the last moment, Big Ben's last year, is just a beautiful story.
Right. I hear my brother go with that black and yellow.
And yellow.
Y'all got in. Yeah, y'all got in.
I mean, y'all gonna get sent home in the first round, but
facts.
It's interesting you say that, Ron. So I asked y'all, what is Ben and the Steelers ceiling for this? Ben, I mean, you just going on Ron right now saying that's it?
They topped it yesterday. They topped it. That's it. Done. They done. They getting bounced out.
They got to play the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, they playing the Chiefs. Kansas City first round.
35-20.
Yeah,
maybe like 24-17. I'm extremely disappointed in the Steelers though. TJ Watt ended the year with I don't even think he got a sack.
2.5.
No, he tied. He tied.
Oh, he tied it. He got 22.5.
They thought he had his first one, but Huntley dropped the ball. They picked it up and they recorded it as a tackle for loss as opposed to a sack. So he ended up finishing with he tied it 22.5 sacks on the year. So he tied the record.
Yeah, he tied.
Which
we got to go over that too. We got to go over that too, Trey.
Oh yeah, yes,
that was something we definitely talked about. Well, it was something we definitely talked about.
We're gonna make it past the first round. Wow.
He said they would not. He said they would not.
Oh, we will not.
So yes. So continue on with the games that really made a difference, that really, really counted. Next up, wait, hold on. Let's talk about this one for a second. Tennessee Titans, right? I was quaking for those Tennessee fans myself. They faced off against the Houston Texans. They were up 21-0 in the first half. So I thought that was a game that was done. Ryan Tannehill was clicking on all cylinders, 23 completions, 32 attempts. 287 yards for 4 TDs. Of course, Deontay Freeman led the charge with 21 carries and 69 yards rushing. But them Texans showed that they are forced to be reckoned with. Davis Mills had 23 completions for 301 yards, 3 touchdowns himself on the second half. It came back and made it a game. Tennessee Titans were able to finish 28-25, but fellas, how many people do you think was actually cheering for the Titans to go ahead and take that L?
I'm sure a lot of people were. were looking for the Titans, and the Texans gave them a little scare, man. I mean, like I said, man, it was all weekend, like
Yeah, it was ahead of all week.
all weekend. Like Texans gave them a scare, and the Titans came and ended up pulling it out. I mean, this just looking at this, man, this whole weekend was just mad. I mean, it was some games I even didn't mention. The Cardinals got beat by the Seahawks. The Patriots got beat by the Dolphins. Like, come on, man. The only surefire game was the Bills and the Jets, the Buccaneers and the Panthers for the most part. But other than that, these other games,
Raiders, Chargers.
Raiders, Chargers, we definitely got to talk about that. Like, my God.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a quarterback in Houston? We're going to have to talk about my guy Mills. He passed the Houston Texans rookie passing yard, Derek Carr. He eclipsed that. He's averaging 4 touchdowns to 1 interception in December. My guy is balling.
He is. He's definitely balling. I mean, don't get me wrong. Texas made it a game, and you absolutely right, Key. They definitely made it a game. Mills is going to be good, and he needs pieces. I truly agree. But I'm like Ron, man. Like, is that the future of the Houston Texans?
So I don't know about that. It's like, let's keep in mind that Mills, even though he did good, I mean, of course, like you said, he got the record, but it was in the reserve role. Although he did do it the majority of the year, he was the starter. I think it's a different aspect when your mentality is you're the starter and it's your job to lose, as opposed to you're the starter and it's your job to gain at that point. So I think, the mental aspect is going to definitely be what's going to show his resiliency or not upon, because they pushing the envelope, where I think they reported this morning, if I correctly, or I caught a glimpse of it, that they're really looking at trying to move Deshaun Watson during the off season.
Yeah. And we spoke about it before, that Deshaun Watson was probably gonna get moved. That was something that we spoke about on Friday, Trey, in regards about Deshaun Watson. Like, we don't know what his final destination is gonna be, if it'll stay in Houston or if he'll be moved to, up out of there. We know he wants to leave. However, the question is, will somebody deal with Deshaun Watson, despite the fact of everything he has going on right now? He just has so much going on that it's no telling, and we don't have any clear-cut decision on what's going to happen with Deshaun. You know what I'm saying? We don't know right now. So it's up in the air. We do know that Houston, they got some decisions to make. They got some major decisions to make, because, like you said, like Ron said, this rookie quarterback came in and did some key things, man. And now, if you're an owner or a coach, are you at a point to where you say, okay, just let's go ahead and let Deshaun go, because we're liking what we see in this rookie, so we can afford to let Deshaun go and move on from him? Like, what are your thoughts?
Right, we're trading Deshaun for 2 firsts yesterday, 2 first-round picks, I think. Yeah, I would
think so.
I would even take 1 if I'm Houston.
Okay.
If it's like a top 10 pick. I'll speak for the Rams. We'll trade Matthew Stafford for him today. Come on, you can play the playoffs.
Hold on, Ron. What's wrong with Matthew, man?
I'm just sick of the Rams.
You know what I realize? You know what I do realize? I mean, of course, we're going to get to it soon, because I don't want to hit them up now. But what I did realize is Matthew Stafford does not have the arm that he used to have.
No,
I disagree. Because Matthew,
you think so?
I disagree. What I will say is they was putting pressure on Matthew. Matthew was getting pressured a lot.
So his 2 interceptions that he threw, if he had got the ball further down the field, those were 6.
The one he was trying to throw, the key one that he threw the interception to when he was trying to throw to OBJ, that was definitely short. That was mad short. He definitely underthrew that. He definitely underthrew that. Mad short. But he did throw some key passes.
I mean,
He
yeah,
did
it's
for
true, but they wasn't down. They wasn't blow the top off passes. Blow the top off passes, which he tried to throw, interception. The two key interceptions. So I think that Matt Stafford that we knew back when he had Megatron and was able to get the ball up the field and throw for 5,000 yards and five. It's those days is gone.
You
No,
think so?
yeah, the
Yes.
Rams offense is Cooper Cup. It's not Matt's arm, and the Rams got the weapons, Vance, Jefferson, and OBJ to get downfield and stretch it. I
Higbee
mean,
showed out yesterday.
Higbee had a good game.
when you got Bosa coming at you every snap, I'm pretty sure he heard footsteps all afternoon.
Oh yeah. He
That
was
front
rattled.
four, San
He was rattled.
Francisco is scary.
Yeah, he was rattled. I totally agree with you that he was, and that's why I feel like because of him being rattled, because of Bosa and some other key players came at him. I feel like that's why he wasn't stepping into his throws and getting the throws down the field. So that's why I disagree with you, Trey, in regards to I don't think his arm is gone. I just feel like Ron said, I feel like he heard them footsteps and he got a bit nervous and got and threw some bad passes. Because that pass that he did throw to OBJ was open. He just underthrew it. He underthrew it bad, real bad. And that was the closer. I know you jumped up for joy when you saw it, Trey. I know you was all over the room, probably running around half naked, happy to with your little 49ers draws on and being just
it's playoff football. It's run game and defense. And y'all boys exposed the biggest discrepancy with the Rams this year is inability to run the rock.
Yep.
Like we're up 17-0, 17-3 in the second half. There is no excuse to not be able to develop a running game. And we literally had none of it.
I totally agree. And I will say that I will give credit where credit is due, Trey. That's the best I've seen the 49ers look this year. That is the best.
49ers can run the ball.
Yeah.
And they can stop the run.
Yep. That's the best I didn't see the 49ers do this year, bro.
Since we're on it, while we're talking about it, the 49ers were able to pull out a dub when it mattered the most with the situation that basically was upon them. Win to get in. If they lose, they out. They end up winning 27-24 versus the Los Angeles Rams, who end up winning the NFC West division. Of course, the 49ers, Jimmy Garoppolo finished with 23 completions for 32 attempts, 316 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. That bad man, Deebo Samuels, one completion, 1 attempt, 24 yards, 1 touchdown. And of course, what we're speaking about is that running back by committee, in which Eli Mitchell, Deebo were hella fine for 29 carries, 130 yards. That basically was very effective. Kept in my opinion, kept them off key. Brandon Ayuk, 106 receptions for 107 yards receiving. Deebo Samuels, 4 receptions for 95. Jawan Jennings, 6 receptions for 94 yards. Only 2 touchdowns by a receiver. I think that's more of a situation in which Shanahan was in his bag. I mean, like me and Ron was talking about, it's just the 49ers are a problem for the Rams, just as the Rams are a problem for the Arizona Cardinals. So, of course, not to be undone, Matthew Stafford, 21 completions, 238 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Sony Michael led the charge for the Rams with 21 carries, 43 yards. Cooper Kupp.
He got the triple crown.
He did get the triple crown. However, he did miss the records, but he did get the triple crown. Finished yesterday with 7 receptions, 118 yards, 1 touchdown. Tyler Higbee, who almost cost me my fantasy football championship, 55 yards. Yeah, I ended up winning. Hey. Come on, guys, stop playing. Come on, man.
Whatever, bro.
I went at that game. I still had Austin Eckler.
Eckler from last night. He played. He was balling last night too.
Yeah. So Tyler Higbee, 55 receptions, 55 receiving yards, 6 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I gotta get your hats off. As I'm not gonna lie, I was a little skeptical, like we was talking about earlier. What Jimmy G was getting, and I just didn't want to be on to be like, yeah, let's go. So even now, still, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Probably the rest of the playoffs, even into the Super Bowl. There's nothing to say. Everyone knows I'm a 49er fan. So,
But let's keep it 100, man. Let's keep it 100, Trey and Ron. Let's keep it 100. The 49ers came in with a great game plan. They knew Jimmy G's thumb was jacked up. They knew it. What's going on, Sarah? Good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it is a whole lot to talk about. Exciting football, yeah, as we spoke about. The 49ers came in with a great plan. Great plan. They knew Jimmy G's finger was jacked up. They knew it was on his throw. It was his throwing hand. So they came out and they established the run, and they established the run well. They knew they didn't. I'm not gonna say they knew they could run the ball, but it was clear that they could run the ball without question, and they did exactly that. Man, they came out and ran the ball effectively against the Rams, and when they needed it, they had it where Jimmy G wouldn't have to throw a great deal of passes, but when they needed him to throw them, he threw them, and he made key plays with his arm, and that was crucial. And I know Ron is upset. I know he's not feeling it, and it's probably not a whole lot he wants to hear about this game. But like I said, you got to give props where props do when it comes to that coaching staff, because they came out and established, and they knew they was like, look, we can't let Jimmy lose the game for us, so we can't allow him to throw 20 to 30 passes. Right. We can't. We have to rely on our run game, and let's hope our run game is effective. And it was, and that's basically what got them the win, because that the touchdown in which San Francisco got, one of the touchdowns was everyone thought it was a run play. Everybody came up when he gave the ball to Deebo Samuels, and Deebo Samuels threw it over the top for the touchdown, because they was running the ball so well. So the defense, when the ball got into Deebo's hand, they just automatically assumed Deebo was going to run the ball, and he throws it over the top for the touchdown. So, man, shouts out to to the coaching staff for the 49ers, because they did a phenomenal job in coming into that game and taking advantage of, Jimmy's and their team's strength against, of course, the Rams' weakness.
As we were saying, of course, in that game, Cooper Kupp had the opportunity to break the record for the most receiving yards in the season, as well as the most receiving receptions in the season, in which he came up short for both, but he did win the Triple Crown, finishing the year with the most receiving yards, most receiving receptions, and the most receiving touchdowns.
Didn't I say he wasn't gonna get it? Didn't I? I thought I said that.
Yeah. So that was two of the records that in which we said weren't going to get touched. Another record in which we said wasn't going to get touched. The New Orleans Saints faced off against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta ended up losing 20-30 behind Matt Ryan's 20 completions, 33 attempts, 216 yards with one touchdown, one interception. Of course, a dismal running game. Unfortunately, Mike Davis, six carries for 30 yards. But Russell Gage, 9 receptions, 126 yards receiving, plus a touchdown. Who was missing Kyle Pitts, 2 receptions, 8 yards. Now, this was one of the records that was on that was up for breaking. It's the longest record currently held by Mike Ditka, in which we were kind of in awe, where it was like, hey, Mike Ditka still holding the record, but saying basically,
you see why.
You see why. In that, my frat brother, Mr. Zach Styles, I appreciate you, brother. As we simply said, make sure, even though it was a small gesture, but any gesture is great. Make sure, to drop that off. I'll get with our treasurer to make sure that happens. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, Zach. Roll 5, bro. My question to y'all, though, real quick, Trey and Ron. My question to y'all, with these records, right? We know, Cooper Kupp got the Triple Crown. We know my man's was boo that man. We know my man's was trying to get it out there in Atlanta, trying to break records. Gronk was looking at records. It was just records all over the place. TJ Watt was trying to was working on records. My thing is this: what is y'all's take? And I'm coming at you first, Ron. What is y'all's take in regards to record breaking, being that they had an extra game to play to break a record, when all these other guys who broke records with less games or a less game? What is your take on that? It was mentioned yesterday, and I was just, it does bring, or it does raise eyebrows, because it's like almost unfair, in my opinion, for you to be able to be considered a record breaker when they've given you a whole nother game to actually break the record. So what are your thoughts, Ron?
Is definitely something that you that gets your attention when you think about it, as I'm looking at these records. But honestly, unless someone really blew the doors off the record, I don't feel like 10 years from now we're going to be looking at it like we're going to look at TJ Watt, for example. We're going to be like, oh, he tied Strahan, but they had an extra game. It was a longer season, yada, yada, yada. Now, if he would have got 26 4 sacks last night, would have been like, yeah, it was his year.
Wouldn't matter.
Then you gotta think about the fact, like, this is one of the first NFL seasons where there's been with a pandemic. There was players missing every week. There was not a point in the season where you didn't miss time, on top of injuries, on top of making sure the schedule worked out. They had a lot of disadvantages as well.
Right.
And you bring up a good point, Ron, because with that TJ Watt, yes, he had an extra game, but he also missed 2 games. So you know what I'm saying? You got to take in consideration. And if he had them 2 games, like you just stated, maybe it would have been a blown door, depending. I can't remember what 2 games he missed. But of course, we know that they probably started to chip him and stuff like that. Probably, saying the hate was in the buildings. Like, we're not going to let him get this record on us, break this record on us. They started doing everything possible where, saying, of course, it was that important. They probably could have schemed to where they could have made to where he would have been 1-on-1 or just schemed to get him that to break the record. But to answer your question, Bishop, I think it's a little too, like he said, if there's a complete obliteration of a record, then we probably could take that into consideration. But then when you look at people are missing, or like, yeah, there was 17 potential options, but I'm sure not everybody, or not a lot of, or every skill player that had the opportunity to break a record played all 17 games.
And I totally get where Ron coming from, because that does make sense. If you blow the record out the water, then yeah, it's well deserved. But it, like you said, when it comes to people like TJ Watt, who tied the record, so forth, it's on. And again, I'm not going to ignore the fact that, like y'all said, TJ did miss 2 games. So therefore, we don't know. He could have surpassed it if he hadn't missed those 2 games. We'll never know. But I know that was, like I said, that was just something that I heard critics talking about in regards to how some people felt it was a bit kind of like unfair because of the fact they had an extra game this season and able to break records. So, it's neither here nor there. Some people just, feel a certain type of way about it. And I just want to know y'all thoughts on that.
Yes, in the same Saints game, Trevor Siemian 9 for 15 in relief for 71 yards, passing 2 touchdowns in relief for Taysom Hill, who was initially 7 yards of 7 completions, 107 yards passing with 1 touchdown before he went out with an ankle injury. Alvin Kamara 30 carries, 146 yards.
30 carries, good Lord.
Yeah, they was a bell cow. It was unfortunate. Like, believe me, I was watching and keeping an eye on that game, and I was like, man, this is not. So when Trevor Siemian came in, I was kind of relieved. I was like, yeah, they should start to come back. But the Falcons are who we thought they are, and it just wasn't happening. But San Francisco pulled through and was able to do what they had to do to take care. They had one job yesterday, and they did their job. Shout out to the 49ers.
Hey, we're not gonna keep harping on the 49ers, man. We talked about them. They done. It's done. We're not gonna keep going back to the 49ers, man. They didn't win the Super Bowl. They won a game. They won a game. We're not gonna keep going back to the 49ers, bro. That's what we're not gonna do.
It was exciting. Like they said, it was an exciting day for another, and the granddaddy of them all in this sense. Last night,
woo!
The Los Angeles Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Bruh.
Do or die,
Trey.
showing up for the last playoff spot in the NFL.
Trey, Ron, that had to be one of the best games in regular season football history. That had to be one of the best games. Justin Herbert, do you know it was at least 6 times that the Raiders should have won that game, and Justin Herbert on 4th down. Yeah, I knew Spotlight. There you go. I knew Spotlight was gonna be somewhere around. Congratulations, Spotlight, because your Raiders pulled that out. It was at least 6 times where the Raiders had the Chargers at 4th down, and the Chargers continued to keep the drive alive. Justin Herbert continued. Now, don't get me wrong. The Raiders was giving Justin Herbert the fits. They was all over Justin. But every single time on 4th down, Justin Herbert found a way, even including 4th and 20, and he threw a touchdown to tie the game up to send it into overtime.
Yes, Justin Herbert, 34 completions, 64 attempts, fam, 383 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. His leading receiver, Mike Williams, with 9 receptions, 119 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. Jared Cook, 4 receptions, 80 yards receiving. And then, of course, Keenan Allen, 6 for 52, as well as Jalen Guyton, 6 receptions for 52 yards. He was definitely in the – well, we know Herbert is a gunslinger for the most part, and that's what he's there. Hopefully he gets some more weapons where that can be more effective. I think he is a person to basically keep the eyes on. Of course, you see him muttering on the sideline. If any, this is the time in which I wish I prayed for a tie, if any. The Raiders, Derek Carr, close. 20 for 36, 186 yards with 2 TDs. Mariota came in, rushed for 4 yards, almost did rush for that touchdown, the gadget play he came in for. Josh Jacobs, 26 carries, 132 yards with 1 touchdown. Leading receiver for the I almost said the 49ers. You know they on my mind. Leading receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders, Brian Edwards, 4 receptions, 63 yards. Foster Moreau, 2 receptions, 50 yards. Now, I bring this question to y'all. And, Ron, you could I go with you first. Darren Waller, 2 receptions for 22 yards. Now, we all know that he is Derek Carr's favorite target. But there wasn't effective. Do you think this was a situation in which he was basically the decoy, because everyone knows the affinity for Derek Carr to Darren Waller?
Yeah, and he's injured. I know he's not 100% healthy. He's got some weird strain in his leg or something. But it looks like just a pummeling, honestly, by the Oakland front 7, their line. Jacobs rushing for 132 yards, 1 touchdown, average 5.1 yards per carry.
That's huge.
Is ridiculous. This is a huge loss to the Chargers defense. This is unacceptable to allow the Raiders to put on this show that we were blessed with to end the year when Darren Waller, their best weapon, was not fully healthy. He was not able to do exactly what he was always able to do, run down the middle of the field, and Derek Carr's just throwing it up. I think that speaks a lot to the 2 pass attempts, because regardless, you're giving him a seam route at least once a quarter. It would be shameful not to. So they showed their flexibility, being able to. We don't need Waller. Look, we can put together a run package, and y'all ain't gonna be able to do anything about it. Jacobs had a rush of 28 yards. Richard, the backup, had a rush of 23 yards, and then Mariota had a rush for 15 yards. They was running on the Chargers, and they couldn't do nothing about it. Josh Herbert, being the incredible quarterback he is, was able to bring the Chargers back, because I thought it was over. They was down 26-13, 2 possessions in the first quarter. It was an incredible comeback. But
now, Bishop, I was about to ask you a question. We seen what they try to do. They basically let's not say they basically tried to. What they did is they did lock down Hunter Renfrow. but
He did get
they
in the end
locked him
zone.
down.
He still got in the
Yeah,
end zone
they
though.
twice. So, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? What does that say for Renfro at this point? 4 receptions, 12 correction, 4 receptions, 13 receiving yards, but still 2 touchdowns,
That's insane.
3.2 yards a catch, but still. So, what is that? What's the ceiling for Mr. Renfro?
Winfro, he still was able to get in the end zone, and he got in the end zone in key moments. And that's the thing,
That's
you know,
exactly.
they just like they did with Waller. So Waller was being double teamed. If y'all didn't know, that Waller was being double teamed, that's how everybody else was getting open and they was able to get the ball down the field with other people. So Waller was a decoy, and he definitely was getting double teamed. Safety was coming down underneath while the corner was coming up over top. So they kept that. They kept that with Waller the entire time. That's why other players was able to, you know, uh, um, capitalize in that game. In regards to Renfro, they did they needed what they, you know, Renfro, the two key receivers, you know what I'm saying, they were kind of held kind of, you know, at bay. And, you know, they tried to do the best they could to keep, you know, keep Renfro out the end zone. However, they couldn't do it. Renfro found ways to get, you know, open at key moments. And I feel like that, you know, that was key. That was key in the game for the Raiders. As well, in regards to Waller, hey, if you can do that, I didn't even know he was hurt until Ron said it. I didn't know he was nursing an
Yeah,
injury.
he
I
had
didn't
been
know
out
that.
the whole year.
Oh, okay, I
Good
didn't know.
morning,
I
How
thought
you
he had
doing?
full recovery. Good morning, Irma. I didn't know he was nursing the injury. But either way, Carr, man, you gotta give it, man. Carr, he stayed in that, man. And the question in hand for y'all though, for me is Ron and Trey. I'm gonna come to you first, Trey, with this one. It was real close at one point where that game could really, really have went into a tie. And the quarterback for the Chargers called a timeout and didn't allow the clock to run. If he may not have called that timeout, there was a great possibility that game would have went into a tie. But he called a timeout, which allowed the Raiders to regroup, gather themselves, and find a way to get their kicker on the field to kick a 50-yard, 40-something yard field goal to win that game. I think that was key. I think that was key in that win for the Raiders. Not taking anything from the Raiders. They did what they had to do to get the win. That kicker was 8 for 8 and ended up being 9 for 9, had not missed a kick in 2 years. In 2 years, he had not missed a field goal. So for you as a coach, you probably should have saved that timeout. If you was going to use it, you probably should have saved that timeout to try and freeze the kicker and not just save the time and use the timeout to, you know, save time on the clock. I didn't understand that. A lot of people questioned on why he did that, but a lot of people are saying that's the reason why the Raiders ended up getting that win over the Chargers, because he called that key timeout and allowed the Raiders to regroup and get their kicker out on the field to kick that winning field goal for them.
So, first and foremost, I actually thought when they went down and scored in the regulation that he was going to go for 2. I just, you know what I'm saying, figured that he had been doing it all year. I just figured, like, you know what I'm saying, why not keep that same energy? You know what I'm saying, let's go. We're not taking this. But then, of course, we had the ever looming situation in which if they tied, then they both would have went. So in this particular situation, when you look at it, I actually think, in which it was a question I was about to ask, which you beat me to the punch there, Bishop. I think that they probably had a situation in which they were going to go for the tie. Like, you know what I'm saying, forget it. We'll go for a tie, because where the situation was, if they go for a kick at this point from this distance, if they block it, return it for a touchdown, we win. At this point, like, the easiest thing was to go for a tie. Now, the reason why he called the timeout, and from what he's saying, is he would needed to get the proper package on the field. So that's why the timeout was called. And then it was on record that changed the mentality in which they went ahead and called the play to go for to go get the first down, and to then go ahead and be in position to kick the field goal. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the coaches are who they are. They do what they do because what they feel is best. It's a 50-50, just like a toss-up. If you throw it, you put it up, even he gonna get it, or they gonna get it, or no one's gonna get it. In this situation, They both could have tied, in which it would have been the dismal look for the it would have been a dismal look for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But in this case, it didn't happen, and I guess that's why he said he did it. He wanted to make sure he got the right package on the field as opposed to what they had at the time to make it harder.
And not to mention, man, Josh Jacobs, he carried that team in overtime. He put that team on his back, and he carried that team in that overtime. Josh Jacobs, they pounded in that overtime once the Chargers scored again. Las Vegas got the ball again, and they just pounded the ball with Josh. And Josh got a key first down to even put him in field goal range. He got a key crucial first down that really put them in a great position to kick that field goal. And so they definitely, mad shouts out to Josh Jacobs for doing what he did and putting that team on his back and getting them in position to get that win to put them in, boost them in the playoffs.
Two more games which I want to talk about before we move on to the next NFL topic. Of course.
Can I just say one more comment?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Ron.
Yes, sir. I'm just sitting here in awe. We're gonna be watching documentaries about this Las Vegas Raiders team.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they are here and they didn't just sneak in. They're the 5th seed. We may be watching them boys in the second round. I don't see why they're not going to beat Cincinnati.
You think they're gonna make it to the second round, Ron? You really believe Carr got enough in him to
upset Cincinnati? 1,000%.
Really?
You might have to
bold statement.
Think on it.
Yeah, that's a bold statement, though. But I feel you. But the way the season goes,
they clearly showed that they outscore Herbert. They can definitely outscore Burrow.
Okay.
Oh, you think so? Oh,
but can they stop Chase? Can they stop Jamar?
No. No one stops Chase, but they can keep going back and forth.
Okay, so something similar to what we saw last night, then. Okay. I like that.
Of course, like to be in the military or whatever case like that, as we said, this is a kind of like veteran-based show. The Raiders show resiliency. Now, as a former MRT, as an MRT, master resiliency trainer, we are taught by sports psychologists that how things, how you sit up and galvanize, I guess you could say galvanize the troops, no pun intended, to be able to get that zen or touch that zen to where you can basically get to that point. Now, at this point, the Raiders were a very, very resilient laden team with everything in which happened, in which when we talk about the coaches, somehow, some way, Gruden is in talks for a reference to another coaching position. But anyway, the Raiders were galvanized to in that resiliency portion of it. Fellas, during your careers, was there a time in which you had to reach down and pull some resiliency out to make a certain situation happen at any point?
I mean, I feel like we probably all have in some way, form, or fashion in the NBA. I'm in the NBA, in the military. Yeah, I'm talking about in the NBA. I'm
about to say, damn. I was about to say, you got a time.
I'm thinking.
You got a certain part of your life you ain't share with us?
Yeah, no. In the military, we there's certain things that we had to be resilient about in regards to the military. I can't really think of none right off the top of my head though. That would be an example of that. Right off the top of my head, I mean, it is a part of the game, and to be resilient enough to come out and stand your ground and get a dub in a huge game like that, and knowing that everything was on the line. You needed that resiliency to be able to withstand all that was coming to you from them Chargers, because the Chargers did everything in their power to try and ensure that the Raiders didn't make it. They tried to do everything in their power to ensure the Raiders didn't make it, and they fell short, and the Raiders came out on top. So, mad shots out, to the Raiders organization for staying resilient and being able to get past it and stay in the fight and be victorious.
Yes. So Green Bay
Mm-hmm.
faced off against the Detroit Lions last night. Green Bay ended up losing to the Detroit Lions last night, 30-37. Aaron Rodgers, 14 for 18, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns in half of the game's play. Jordan Love came in 10 for 17, which isn't bad,
That's not bad.
134 yards,
Mm-hmm.
1 touchdown, but 2 interceptions. AJ Dillon led the charge, 63 yards rushing on 14 carries, 4.5 yards average, as well as Alan Lazard, 5 receptions for 75 yards, 15 average with 2 touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 6 for 55 with 9.2. Of course, Jared Goff, 21 for 30, 238 yards, rush on passing, 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 receptions, 109 yards, 1 touchdown. The game in which I watched, it was a lot of trickery going on. So it was a situation in which, yes, the Lions were victorious. They used any means necessary to get the W. What do y'all think for the Lions going forward? Do you think they have something in which they can capitalize on for this offseason to be a problem next year, or is it just a situation where it probably was, okay, we're already secured the number 1 seed, we don't have nothing to prove, we're gonna go ahead and pull Rodgers, Devontae, and Jones and let the chips lie where they lay?
So with me, just like we spoke about on Friday, we didn't know if Aaron Rodgers was going to play, and he had already stated that he wanted to play. I really don't think they really cared too much about that game, to be honest. Detroit did get a win in that game. It is what I mean. It was a worthless game for them. For the most part, it was a game on the schedule, and they had to play it. But I don't think it was any. I don't think it proves anything in regards to Detroit in the Green Bay Packers. I feel like Green Bay just wanted to ensure that Aaron Rodgers stayed fresh, make sure he was still hitting his targets here and there. Detroit didn't have nothing to lose, so they came in the game probably eager to try and punch Green Bay in the mouth and say that they beat them. But that game was an irrelevant game in my opinion. It was an irrelevant game. It didn't matter. They probably wanted to see a little bit of Jordan Love, which they saw, like you said, it was 10 for 17. They wanted to see a little bit of Jordan Love, and I'm sure putting Jordan Love in the game was a way for coaches to maybe see, okay, what can we do if Aaron was to leave Green Bay? Is there some promise in Jordan Love possibly being a starter for Green Bay if Aaron Rodgers does decide to leave the Bay? So it is what it is. It was just like I said, it was a game on the schedule, in my
Ron,
opinion.
what's Green Bay's ceiling for this season? The rest of for the postseason?
Oh, they're going to lose in the NFC Championship. That's
Mm.
just what Aaron Rodgers does. We can book that.
Mm.
I think it was a great, like what you said, Bishop, for them to look at Jordan Love. They really got to get a whole nother second half of him from his atrocity of a performance when he played for Aaron Rodgers, I think against the Chiefs.
Yeah, when he
And
had COVID.
yeah, I was Detroit broke me this game. If they would have lost this game, I would have been sitting a whole lot happier in the bank. And I can't believe that they pulled out another victory this season. I thought Jordan Love was looking good. I was like, okay, we might have something with Jordan Love. He connected to Lazard in the end zone.
He
I
did.
was like, okay. And then we get to the end of the game, and it was just all downhill from here. But the
Jordan Love
Packers
was
was
old.
fumbling. He had those 2 picks in the last minute of the game. You hate to see it, but you would have been like, you could have at least drove us down to the red zone one of those times, even though we probably wasn't going to get a score. You could have looked better. I think we seen that he don't got the clutch gene. I'm interested to see if the Packers bring somebody in or if they're gonna roll out with him next year because we know Rodgers isn't coming back.
Do you think Trey? Do you or Ron? Do you think Jordan? So you feel, and I'm just going off of what you just said, Ron. Do you feel like Jordan Love didn't say enough or do enough in that game to stick with him as the starter if Rodgers was to leave, and that they should go and look for a quarterback in the draft?
I wouldn't draft someone because they have a lot of other holes that they can fill. When you can go a year with Jordan Love and they're going to be horrible, 5-12.
Oh,
Uh, but you really get to work them out and see if is this somebody we're going to be able to build the future with. I think they should
okay.
just bring in another competent backup like the Wentz, not Wentz, like in the Eagles. Who's the backup? Minshew.
Minshew.
But Hurts is a starter. Like they're two equivalent quarterbacks, but let's give you some competition, see what you
Mm-hmm.
do, and
Okay.
build on it.
What you think, Trey?
I think that there is the due diligence. Of course, yes, you should bring in somebody, even if Love is going to be, as just like Ron was saying, even if Love is going to be the starter, you want to bring in somebody which you that can push him and potentially take that position and put him back as a starter. Now, in that case, it'll be an unfortunate situation that you had your opportunity and you couldn't make it happen to where you're the starter in your own organization, which you had the most time to learn the playbook, and now they bring in somebody that is equivalent or a little bit better, or maybe a little less than you, but they get the nod for starter. I'm very sure that could be hurtful and detrimental to the Eagle. But I think it's the team doing the due diligence. It's a business. No hurt feelings or nothing personal. It's a business, and it's what they got to do to best be fit their organization. So I think they probably will, as Ron was just saying, bring in somebody that can pick up the load if Love is not effective or if he happens to go down. Um,
Yeah.
and
Chip
we
at his
basically,
heels, basically, and
But
put some
yeah.
but
fire up under him.
fellas, I'm excited for the 2022 offseason. There is a lot of moving pieces at quarterback. We got Russell Wilson, Garoppolo, Rodgers. We even might have Kirk Cousins. There's going to be a lot of moving quarterbacks and open vacancies. They could just trade Jordan Love and bring somebody else in and
Mm.
keep the ball rolling.
That's true.
Mm.
That's fact. You got a great point, Ron. You got a great point, especially being, and I think a lot of it is determined on what Aaron does. Um, but you're right. You got Deshaun Watson. You got people that's just out there who is definitely, and then of course y'all have heard the rumors. Everybody saying, yeah, that was last. That was Big Ben's last game in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's been questioned that Big Ben could possibly go somewhere else. So that's out there. I don't particularly see that. And personally, I don't see Big Ben going nowhere else. I think Ben is done. I really feel like he's done.
Yeah.
But there are rumors in regards to Big Ben maybe going somewhere else. But you made a valid point, Ron. There are some quarterbacks that's out there that's on the move that want to be moved, and definitely looking for a home. Even whatchamacallit, they're even talking about moving Tua. Tua might not be in
Yeah.
Miami. Tua is another rumor that's being spread about him not being in Miami. So I don't know. Like I said, you made a valid point, Ron. We may not see Jordan Love in Green Bay and Green Bay colors. He may not stay in the Bay. He could end up somewhere else. Who's to say? Can't wait until the offseason and see how everything, transpires.
I'm
To make
shipping
sure.
them out if I'm management.
Oh wow! So make sure that we get all the information out to the formation. Of course, like you said, this coming week, this Saturday and Sunday will be the start of the 2021-2022 NFL playoffs as we look for
Wild cards.
the hunt for the champion for this year. Of course, the number one seed securing a bye, Green Bay Packers for the NFC, the Tennessee Titans for the AFC.
Mhm.
Games that we have slated, as we just stated, the Eagles will face off in Tampa Bay versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 49ers will travel to Big D and go face the Cowboys in Dallas, and the Los Angeles Rams will play host to the division rival Arizona Cardinals.
I'm sorry, you're not gonna be able to make that game, Trey, to go see your 49ers go to Dallas.
No,
It's right
Pete
up.
Gabe. I looked. I believe you. I looked. I was looking to see, but those tickets, the nosebleeds, is not worth it for me. Even in
Mhm.
nosebleeds, like it's like we talking about
They probably would
thousand
have ran you
dollars.
up out of there anyway in Jerry's World with some 49er stuff on. They probably would have ran
No,
you
it
up out
wouldn't go on that. It
there,
probably would have been one. It probably would have been one of them YouTube moments where where they got where the fans are fighting each other. That might have been that probably would have been more so my speed.
Yeah.
And of course in the AFC, as we said, the Pittsburgh Steelers squeaked in. They would be facing the Kansas City Chiefs down in Kansas City. The New England Patriots will face off against their division rivals, the Buffalo Bills. And of course, the the Las Vegas Raiders will be facing off against the Cincinnati Bengals in Cincy. Fellas, do you see, not to get into it too much because of course that time will come, do you foresee any upsets in these games? These
Well,
six
it
wild
sounds
card
like
games.
Ron already has one with that
Well, yeah, he
Cincy
said,
and
yeah,
that
the
Raiders game.
Raiders.
Yep. Give me Raiders upset. Give me the Niners upset.
Is that an upset, Ron? To be honest, though,
The
that Raiders
Niners.
game? No, yeah, the
Oh,
Niners game.
the Niners. I mean, the Cowboys is favored by 3 on
Mm-hmm.
home field,
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of like a even
Mm-hmm.
match. So that's
Mm-hmm.
not really a upset. But
Mm-hmm.
if the Cowboys go home in the first round, they're gonna be devastated. They're gonna be looking around like, "What are we doing?" Jerry Jones is gonna be having a end of life crisis. I really want the Cowboys to get a Super Bowl before he go on, as all the man wants, but they're cursed. He's always gonna be cursed by what he did to Jimmy J. And
Yeah.
Cowboys is going home, y'all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I'm hoping them 49ers definitely send them home. I'm definitely doing that. But my upset, you know what my upset is, Trey?
Hmm.
My Eagles over the
Oh,
Bucks.
there you
Oh
go.
man.
There you go. It's like just as you said that, I caught a
My
glimpse
upset is them
of the bracket
Eagles
out the corner of my
over them
eye.
Bucks, baby. Them Eagles over them Bucks in Tampa Bay, baby. I feel like we're gonna get that upset, man. I think we're gonna shock the world. We're gonna shock the nation, baby. We're gonna shock the nation. We're gonna come into Tampa Bay, go up against the GOAT, and we're gonna shock the nation, man. We're gonna shock the nation. Y'all, Ron, Trey, y'all act like that's the Bucks
The
have lost to
Buccaneers,
they done lost to some, but they done
they
lost to
favored
some.
by 9. They
But
favored by
see,
9. I
he
will
only gonna
guarantee that it'll be at least a 3-point game, but I don't know
yeah.
about the other.
Yeah, man. Hey, the Bucks done lost to teams that they shouldn't have lost to. And
They're hurting.
yeah, and so me personally, I feel like we can go in there and get upset, man. We get upset, bro. Ooh, boy, that would just make my weekend, man. That would make my weekend. I ain't gonna lie, but that in regards to upsets, yeah, I would have to agree with Ron. Definitely, that Cincinnati and that Raider game, that's gonna be a good one.
Raiders.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna really be a good one in Cincinnati. That's gonna be being that Cincinnati just lost to Cleveland. That's gonna be a good one. That is going to be a good game. They lost to a backup quarterback. The Bengals lost to a backup. Did Burrow play?
No,
No.
he didn't.
He didn't. That's right. That's right. Neither one of them played. That's right.
Case played. They still looked horrible.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good game. Carr versus Burrow. That's gonna be a good one.
So do y'all think, real quick before we move on, do y'all think the fact of Tennessee, of course, everyone thinks that Tennessee getting the bye is the best thing that could have happened to them, most beneficial, so they can give Derrick Henry another opportunity to rest. But do y'all think he was activated, but he didn't play? Do y'all think that was a good idea? Or y'all think it's going to make a difference? Or is it going to be they're going to play their team. They're going to play their game, and it's going to be a one and done for them because they rely too much on Henry coming back to be effective, and he didn't get opportunity to.
Yeah, I think it's a huge mistake. I was so disappointed in him. I would have gave Henry at least 5 snaps, especially to end the game against third string, second string. But if I was running that organization, I would have left it up to you. I would have been like, King Henry, do you want to play, or do you just want to wait to the playoffs? So hopefully they did that, but I would have played him. Get out there for one series, get some of that rust off, get hit a little bit, get on the ground, make sure you feel good. Them not doing that makes me scared in the second round of playoffs.
Do you know it?
But
Next up, yes, go
but
ahead.
before we move on,
Yes, go ahead.
Tannehill looked great. He looked great yesterday.
People sleep on Tannehill, man.
I think so.
I do. I believe people sleep on Tannehill, man. Tannehill is not bad.
Well, I mean, of course he did. You got to think he took the position basically, or he was more of the ideal, because I mean that used to be Mariota's team.
Facts.
And they,
yeah, I totally like Tannehill is not a bad quarterback, man. He's not.
287, 4 touchdowns is not bad at all.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but also
wrong, they played the Texans.
They played the
Texans. But still, that's still 4 touchdowns. That's still it's still an NFL team. I don't care who they play, who was on the schedule. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But Tannehill, and I think when Derek come back, man,
AJ Brown, Julio
got a touchdown, first touchdown in 10 games. Like
Tannehill got a Maserati over there. He's driving. Let's see what he can do with it.
Exactly. He has the weapons, bro. He has the weapons. He definitely has the weapons. It's just about putting things together. So and I think that's gonna be a key factor with Derek coming back, man. Oh,
if things go how we predicting, they're gonna be playing the Raiders or Bengals. I think we can see the Titans in AFC Championship game this year.
So with the of course with the both wins for the Detroit Lions as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the fortunately for the Lions winning, that put the Jacksonville Jaguars in the front seat for the upcoming draft. With that, let's take a look at let's go back into in the future a little bit. So we know Trevor Lawrence started this year, 2021, first round draft pick from last year. Do y'all remember Jamarcus Russell?
Mm-hmm. He's the offensive coordinator for the Jamarcus Russell. Ain't he the offensive coordinator for who is it? Tampa Bay?
No, not that. No. Jamarcus Russell, 2007 draft pick.
Yeah, he's an offensive coordinator right now. Is he not?
Somebody gave him an offensive coordinator job.
Yeah.
You talking about got blank tapes, and it was asked if he was studying his film sessions.
Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, you know what? I think I got him mixed up with.
You got him mixed up with Brian Leftwich.
Brian Leftwich. That's who it is. Brian Leftwich. I'm sorry. Yes. My bad.
Yeah, so of course Jamarcus Russell, 2007 first draft
pick. You right, Freddie? Yeah.
By the Raiders. And Trevor Lawrence, of course, last year's top draft pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Would you think? Would y'all? I ask y'all a quick question. Do y'all think that Trevor Lawrence had a bust of a year?
He's a bust of the year.
Yeah, for this year was basically.
When you say bust, what do you mean?
So let me flip the question. Jamarcus Russell. Would you say that Jamarcus Russell had a bust year when was a bust of a player?
He was a bust. Yes, he's a bust player. Yes.
Five. His record. His first year, he was 5-11.
Who? Jamarcus Russell, Freddie? Or are you talking about Trevor Lawrence?
I think we're trying to compare him.
Please say you talking about Trevor Lawrence, because
he was 5-11. He went his first year 5-11, 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 2,600 yards passing in 16 starts. Trevor Lawrence, 2 for 14, 2 and 14, 10 TDs, 17. Yes, Leftwich was a good player. 17 interceptions, 3,400.
Was he good?
Yeah, Leftwich. Yeah, Leftwich was, in my opinion, Leftwich
Oh,
was a good
Leftwich.
player.
Yeah, I keep going to back to Jamar. I keep getting them two mixed up. Okay, yeah, Leftwich was a good player, right? I'm
And
keep getting him
16
and Jamar.
starts. So based upon that, who would you say was a bust in their first year, or more of a bust in their first year? Jamarcus Russell or Trevor Lawrence?
Jamarcus Russell.
Really?
I feel like Trevor. Yeah,
Well,
I feel
because
like
due
Trevor
to
Lawrence.
what Ron just said, like he came on and said he he didn't study tape at all.
I think.
Go ahead, Ron.
No, I was just gonna say I'm a fan of Jamarcus. I did look up
Got a
since we was
cannon.
talking about him coaching. He is a quarterback coach out in his alma mater in Alabama, so shout out to him. But I think he was a product of the Oakland system. I feel like if he went to a better organization that actually catered to him and put him in positions to win and whatnot, he would have been a whole lot better career-wise. But comparing him to Sunshine is not close. Like the Jaguars was not supposed to get any wins this year. The Urban Meyer cast dark shadow over the whole entire organization, from Tim Tebow to in the club after losses.
Getting lap dances.
It was a struggle, and I think we got to see the potential of Trevor Lawrence ending the year.
I agree.
It's going to be a superstar show down in Jacksonville if they put some weapons around.
Duval. So
I agree. I totally agree with Ron with what he's saying. I mean, just by what Trevor did yesterday, it shows he has the potential to be a good. Yeah, he has the potential to be a good quarterback. I just think he unfortunately the Urban Meyer was just not the coach to give him that guidance. And then who is mentoring Trevor? That's what he needs. He needs a mentor out there in Jacksonville. He needs somebody in his somebody to tutor him, to get him to focus and know what to look for. I think that's what makes great and successful QBs in the NFL, man. Just like when it comes to the military.
Did you listen last night?
That OJT. You know how we need OJT? How we remember y'all OJT?
Yes.
We had somebody who
sitting and watching with the
yeah, and you watch them, and you kind of like follow their footsteps and learn this and that and the other, and follow the ways in which they showed and what's been successful for them, so we could learn how to do whatever it was that we needed to do in our MOS. I think that's what quarterbacks need in the NFL. The Trevor Lawrences, the Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields. These guys don't have that.
Last night, did you hear when Derek Carr let it slip? I ain't gonna say let it slip, but said that he called Aaron Rodgers. And so the reporter's like, Aaron Rodgers, why you call Aaron Rodgers? He's like, he has been good to me since I came in the league. We became friends, and like I tend to speak to him and talk to him about certain things. So you can kind of like see like the tutelage of Aaron Rodgers obviously has been a blessing for Derek Carr in that aspect.
Playing good ball.
Yeah,
he's playing good ball. He's playing good ball, and I feel like that's a recipe for success. That's a recipe for success. Just look at the GOAT. Who did the GOAT have to who was his mentor? Who was the GOAT's mentor?
Who was it? We not talking Bledsoe? You think so?
Yes, Drew. Come on, man. Seriously, is that a question? Drew, I don't. Is Drew? Is he in the Hall of Fame? I don't even know if he's in the Hall of Fame or not. But Drew, but this is the thing. You don't necessarily have to be a Hall of Famer to mentor anyone.
True.
I don't think you need to be a Hall of Famer to be.
It's crazy that we brought up Leftwich, because I know he's rumored to go get that Jacksonville job. Mm-hmm. That would be a great.
Say that they looking at Leftwich to be that part, Ron. They looking at Leftwich to get a head coaching job, and
that's where he was most effective at during his career.
And look at Leftwich. He's younger than Tom Brady, but he's the offensive coordinator. You feel me? He's the offensive coordinator. So them two together, they're masterminds over there, bro. They're masterminding it over there. And Aaron Rodgers, who was his mentor? Brett Favre. Come on, man. The greats have great people who mentored them and putting them in position. Dak doesn't have that. That's why Dak is questionable. You know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. You have some quarterbacks who can come in the league and do great things without even being mentored. And I'm not saying they're not being mentored, but we just look at Joe Burrow. I'm sure there's somebody he's talking to. Joe Burrow's doing what he's doing. He's playing phenomenal ball, but we don't know who he's talking to, who's giving him some upside on how to be a good quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, when we look at all these other rookies, the Justin Fields, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, the Jalen Hurts, the Dak Prescotts. Oh, another one, a good quarterback that's out there that we don't know who's mentoring him. But obviously, I'm sure somebody's in his ear, and it might be his coach, and that's Kyler Murray. Even though they lost yesterday, I don't know what's going on with the Cardinals, but they are they heading in the wrong direction. I don't know what's going on with Arizona. They lost to Seattle, and I don't see how they lost to Seattle, but they did. Either way. But I think good quarterbacks can mentor other quarterbacks to be just as good or even better. And I feel like those are missing pieces. Tua doesn't have one. That's why Tua's not doing all that great. They need that. Ryan Fitz could have been a mentor for Tua, but they got rid of Fitz. I feel like you need that. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like you need that.
So, of course, bringing up the fact of the coaches and the mentorship, which coaches, that's what some of their jobs is, to be those quarterback whisperers, i.e., Nagy, who is now currently without a job. Him and GM Pace were fired this morning, along with a host of other quarterbacks. Of course, earlier in the year, you had Gruden that was fired by the Las Vegas Raiders. Yesterday, before any of the coaches, before the dominoes started to fall, Vic Fangio was fired by the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
And then Mike Zimmer, as well as the GM Spielman, was out at Minnesota. Yep. And what was most glaring and the most surprising fire is Flores is fired in Miami after 2 years in which he went 10-6 and 9-8 in what was like seasons that was a wrap for him. I don't understand it. They did him like they did Jim Caldwell, like the Detroit Lions did Jim Caldwell after being a successful. I don't get it, fellas.
We can get real deep.
I'm about to say, yo, that.
It speaks. I don't even think we have to get that deep because it speaks to the organization. It speaks to the structure for them to make that decision after 2 years when they've been very successful in a tough AFC East, like everybody except the Jets, of course. It's like, why is Tua struggling, not being all he's supposed to be? It's when you have people up in the upper room that's not making the right decisions. You have to look at the questioning of draft picks, free agents. You have to take in every single decision that a franchise makes. And you're like, okay, something's definitely not right here. And firing Flores was not the right move. That's not what you do. He's building. Them boys in Miami come to play.
Yeah.
Miami is no joke. All they need is a couple pieces here and there, and we thought they was going to shake up the playoffs last year. It's egregious.
Flores is definitely probably going to go somewhere. He's probably going to get one of those other jobs because I'm foreseeing, like today's talking about this morning, I called on First Take, that the GM is a Miami. I mean, not correction, not a Miami, a Michigan guy. In which that brings in up, not to say that it's been reported, but that brings up the fact of Harbaugh might be a candidate, or they've been talking or whatever case like that. So, but I think, like you said, Ron, that's definitely all right. Let's up and put it down. That's definitely a topic, probably somewhere where that might be a great amount of the time.
If they got Harbaugh lined up, I'll take up everything I just said. We ain't gonna talk about the black coach thing, the deficit, the Rooney Rule. We don't even have to go into all of that. If they got Harbaugh lined up, then.
Who has Harbaugh lined up? Miami?
It's not yet. That's what it talks in Miami because that's the GM is a guy is a.
I'd rather see him go to the Raiders anyway, but I don't think he's leaving Michigan.
You don't think Harbaugh's gonna leave?
He's a king right now. He is royalty right now. He
be Ohio State.
Ohio State win. because of the Ohio State win. But
He
they
can
didn't.
go to
But
the
they didn't
mayor's
win the.
office and slap him, and he'll
But
be
they didn't win
okay.
the big game. They didn't win.
Oh yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
they
the
won Ohio
championship.
State game.
That's
I know
they
that
won
was a
that
big
game.
game. That was a big game.
That's
I
a
get
good
it.
We
But they
stopped
didn't win.
caring about the season after we beat Ohio State.
You think that was it? That solidified his
Now
position right there?
that Georgia loss was it was but
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
good year.
But
I know
stay-
it's crazy. I don't know if I don't know. I would love. I don't know. I don't know if he. I'm on the fence of whether or not he stays or goes.
Yeah.
definitely, and I that the coaching carousel. I'm waiting to see who else takes the L and what they're talking about for potential candidates, because I think there's some things to be said about the coaching. But as Ron said, that's a deep subject, and
Yeah.
I'll be ready.
I don't think Miami has no idea what they're doing. We can see them being at the bottom of AFC East next year. They will be worse than the Jets. Just my predictions, because where there's smoke, there's fire. Something ain't right.
Of course, keeping that same vein with the college football, the reason for the season is upon us tonight. But before we get to that, what's been left out is NCAA FCS division has crowned their champion for the year. Of course, is no other than the North Dakota State University Bisons. I think, is that correct? They're the Bisons, right? NDSU, where your man came from.
State, yeah, that's where Wentz came from.
Yes, they have won their 9th title since 2011. So before we get in, so let's not do that, guys. Let's not do that. Equal opportunity. The FCS produces monsters, just like the Big 5 conferences, just like the Division One. FCS, FB, yeah, they you know what I'm saying, they get it in. They produce Wentz. They produce Trey Lance.
And you saying what? You saying what? That they produce Wentz and what? They not in the Wentz is not in the playoffs.
Did y'all not draft
Carson Wentz? We did.
Carson Wentz.
We did. What does that
Did
mean?
he or did he not put you on position for a Super Bowl title?
He did. He didn't win one though.
And we gave him like 9 figures.
Technically, he did. He has a ring. He has a ring.
He didn't win it though. When I say he, I said he didn't win one. He has one. He has one, but he didn't win one.
So are we saying that
the guy by the name of Nick Foles won the Super Bowl?
Yes. So are we saying that
it was MVP?
Season, so you're saying hold up before. Let me just ask this question real quick. So you're saying that Nick Foles could have got y'all to the Super Bowl via the season if he was the starter.
I can't say that. We will never know. We can.
But what we can say is Carson Wentz did.
We can say that. That's fair. Yeah, we can say he done his part. He did. Can we say that he would have won the Super Bowl for us? Can we say that too? Either?
I mean, probably not. Not this one.
We can't say that because he didn't play. So we can't say whether or not he would have won the Super Bowl just because he got us there. Don't mean he would have won it. Okay. I mean,
but what we can say is that tonight the college football playoff championship will be
upon us.
Will be against the Alabama Rolling Crimson Tide and the UGA University of Georgia Bulldogs. Fellas, what do y'all see coming out for this tonight's game? What's the outcome?
Ron, I'm gonna let you go first.
I can't. I went and looked at it this morning. I cannot believe Alabama is Georgia is favored to beat Alabama.
They are.
It blew my mind. I was going to go heavy on the Georgia upset. Why not? I can see Georgia winning, but once I saw Alabama was the underdog, that's all they needed to do to fire up Nick Saban and them boys.
Boy, that part. Ron hit everything on the head. When you bet against Nick Saban, that's probably the worst thing you could ever do.
All you gotta do is walk in the locker room. They still don't believe in us, y'all. Let's go.
Yeah. That's one thing. That's probably the worst thing you can do is bet against Nick Saban. All you did is add fuel to the fire. That man, once you do that, you have put him in beast mode. He has now been very disrespectful, despite the fact of all of his past and his records and of all the things he's done. You still have the audacity to say that we will not win. Nick right now, Nick is licking his chops. Oh, they don't believe in me, huh? They don't believe fat meat greasing. Oh, you gonna learn today. Oh, you gonna learn today. You gonna learn
So,
today.
so I hear y'all both, and I believe strongly in defense wins ball games. So what we
In
do
championship
know
and
is
offense sales tickets, we do.
yes.
I agree with
What
that.
we do know is you cannot give Nick Saban an immense amount of time to game plan for you. After them beating Georgia the first time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee them being able to. I don't foresee the same outcome. So I would say this.
Ooh, so you a non-believer
I was,
too?
I was,
Ooh,
I would say
you a
this.
non-believer too,
This is why
boy.
I say. This is why I say to you, Frat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a push for 5-man of the year. And I think what
Okay.
I can do in being able to become 5-man of the year is I can attribute to the organization that I helped put coins in the fraternity's pocket.
Okay.
So I say to you, $20 donation that the Georgia Bulldogs get the win tonight.
Ooh, wee. There's a
You see,
non-believer,
Bishop, he
Ron.
can't even say that with his chest. He got
He
to go.
can't.
The
He
Georgia,
can't. He can't, Ron. It
they
hurt him to say
will,
that.
maybe, possibly.
It hurt him to say that, Ron. It hurt him to say that. What I will tell you this, Trey. What I will say, like you stated, and this is what you starting off saying, that Nick Saban has had time to game plan for
He hasn't
Georgia.
had enough time. I don't think he had enough time to get another W.
Do you know Nick Saban only needs a weekend, bro? Do you know that man needs a weekend to get things together for his team to be able to get stuff to happen? He's had more than a weekend. Do you understand?
The
He's
sad
had
thing,
2
Bishop, is he
weeks.
already got the full script on how to expose them boys. He's like, we just beat them by 20 points.
And the key, and this is the thing, right? This is the thing, Ron, right? The whole thing about it is, right? Everybody think, oh, Nick Saban everybody probably think, oh, he's gonna go back to the same thing that he used to beat Georgia the first time. But see,
He's
Nick
not.
Saban he's
I
a
don't think
mastermind.
he is.
No, he's
True.
a mastermind.
True.
Nick Saban knows. He's like, oh, they think I'm probably gonna come up with the same game plan, and I'm finna straight flip it. I'm gonna flip it on them so easy on them, man, that they don't have no idea what to expect. And that's the thing about Nick, man. People try to game plan for Nick. You can't game plan for Nick. You can't game plan for Nick, because Nick gonna come with something that you did not expect. You did not expect. Nick is gonna come out here and he gonna make you understand.
That's what's expected, though. That is what is expected, though. That it's a plan that you need to sit up and be unorthodox. You need to sit up and do something different. You can't do the same thing. I don't foresee that potent Georgia defense is going to be held a second time around for the same team that basically knocked them off their keister, knocked them onto their keister and knocked them off their pedestal. I just don't think that.
I
think Smart is going to finally take in consideration that this man has been shellacking him across the field all these years. He's from his tree, and the same thing that happens to Belichick, the same thing that Belichick produces in the NFL is this. It's the same thing. It's the same thing in which that has for Saban in the NCAA. I think tonight Kirby puts that to rest. I think he's going to go ahead and he's going to sit up.
You know what, Trey? I'm glad.
You seen Waterboy? You remember Waterboy?
I have seen Waterboy. Yeah.
You remember the thing with the. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going down.
That's what Kirby doing. Is that Kirby or is that Nick Saban or is that Kirby?
That's Nick Saban tonight. Like you said, he has the blueprint. That blueprint is out the window tonight. Georgia fans, stand up, baby. Let's go.
I know there's a lot of Georgia fans, and they hoping. I know they hoping, and they wishing and praying that Nick Saban come out there and be slipping on his pimping. But I'm here to tell y'all, man, Nick Saban is not the GOAT for no reason, bro. He is not the GOAT for no reason, man. He has made a name for himself and solidified himself as the GOAT because of what he is able to do in his capabilities and getting his team ready for big games tonight. Nick never slips. That part, Taylor. That part.
We don't even have to talk about Nick Bishop because he has a guy at quarterback. Like Bryce Young is going to be a star. He's just, if you just look at his stats, like he won the Heisman, of course, but when you just really look at it, like he had 50 touchdowns this year and only 5 interceptions. Hold up.
That's ridiculous.
That's
ridiculous in the SEC. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. And you really think, okay.
And let's not even else forget that we got a running back that almost got 1,500 yards this year. Let's not sleep on that either. It's
that fact.
Bama got some boys.
It's inevitable, man. It's inevitable. When you line up against Nick, just know you about to be up against the greatest to ever put on a coaching headset across from you. You about to go up against the greatest to ever put on a headset across from you.
So you saying Venables? You saying Venables should fear him?
Oh yeah, I say everybody should fear Nick Saban. I love my beloved Sooners. Y'all see it, Boomer Sooner all day. Got it on. I don't get it twisted. But I will say, just like they say about that bad man in Bill Belichick, Nick Saban is college football, man. Nick Saban is college football. It is what it is. They have he has created the mold of greatness in the University of Alabama. And until somebody knocks him off his crown, it is what it is. I don't see Kirby Smart being able. He was under Nick Saban's tutelage, and I just don't think it's time for Kirby Smart to outdo the sensei. It's not time for him to outdo the sensei. It's not time. He's still a young grasshopper. He's still a young grasshopper.
See, let's keep in mind. Let's not forget the last time they played in the national championship, they had to overcome by bringing in a different quarterback. I don't think they have that same opportunity this time. The stakes is different now. Regular season is what it is. Stakes are different now.
It is.
Stakes are different now.
I totally agree. But that Heisman is there for a reason.
So y'all both going Alabama. I'm going Georgia. Mm-hmm. Just so make sure we get it on the record. $20 donation.
$20 donation. Let's get it.
$20 donation. Okay, got it. Make sure you know what I'm saying. That's what's up.
So and I gotta go with Alabama because they
35-24.
They crimson. So that's close to us. You know, that's crimson. That crimson color.
Well, USC is Cardinal. It's pretty close too.
No, y'all in the Pac-12. Don't bring them up again. Don't do that. don't do that.
So, gentlemen, I asked y'all this question, right? Your recruits, 5-star recruits, in whatever your position was in your heyday, 5-star recruit. Who are you choosing? Georgia or Alabama? I guess I know. Hence this kind of soliloquy we just went through. But who are you choosing? 5-star recruits. Y'all both got letters in hands. Who are you choosing? Georgia or Alabama?
And I'm a recruit?
Yes, for whatever your position was in your heyday, you're a 5-star recruit for that position. Who you choosing?
Alabama.
Alabama? And what position? At what position?
In my heyday, I was what? In my heyday, I was wide receiver and running back.
Okay. So Alabama,
you're going to be sitting the bench for probably 2 years.
Yeah, and hopefully they're going.
Facts. That is true. That's facts. That is true. But those are the two teams I had to pick from. So I'm going.
Well, yes, that's just what I'll go because I'm going after we go through. I'm going to bring it back to who would you go to overall, legitly and honestly. Okay, Taylor. Okay.
If you're a running back, Georgia, I like that.
I got you. I can see that. We would have to be Alabama wide receiver. I see where you're going, Taylor. I see where you're going with that. I see
Ron,
exactly.
where you going, Ron? Where you going to? Alabama or UG?
So my initial thought once I get these two letters is to rip them up and call Dion and sign myself up for Jackson State, baby. However, if we're sticking to the parameters of the question, I'm gonna go Alabama.
Alabama?
It's a fraternity. You could probably get all of the Alabama players in the NFL and put them on one team, and it's gonna be the best team in the NFL. They take care of each other. That's what we about on here. Talking about the military fraternity, the brotherhood. When you get to the NFL, you gonna know you got people looking out after you and taking care of you.
Facts. Who would you say? Let me ask y'all this: who would you say produces the better running backs, Alabama or Georgia?
Georgia.
Yeah. Alabama's running backs when they get to the league sometimes be real questionable.
Agreed.
Biggest one, Richardson, after he won the Heisman.
Right. I'm like you, man. They do. They have a well-rounded coaching staff. I totally agree with you, Taylor. My thing is, man, it's funny in which what Ron said a minute ago in regards to he would say he would tear up the letters and go to Jackson over there with Dion. And it's crazy you say that, right? Because here this past weekend here in San Antonio, there was an all American games here in San Antonio.
Formerly the All Army,
formerly of the all U.S. Army All American game, but now it's All American game. It's no longer the Army have withdrawn themselves as being a sponsor to that game. But I said that to say this: there was a young man who was highly being looked at and recruited that was in this game this weekend, and he had offers. The hats he had on the table was one of them was Georgia, one of them was Alabama. I think it was a Florida team, and there was he had like 6 hats on the table. You know what one of them hats was? Jackson State. And guess who he picked?
J-State.
Jackson State. Go out there. Yeah. What does that say? What does that say, Trey and Ron? What does that say about Dion and grabbing these 4- and 5-star recruits to come play for him out in Jackson State?
I was just thinking I was about to pose the same question. So I don't know if it's a situation in which they believe in the star power of Dion or they believe into the mentorship and the his coaching ability. At this point, I put it straight down the middle and said it's probably a little bit of both. Just as Taylor's saying, I'm not going to say that it's not they're not big enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that he's not there. Jackson State isn't big enough yet. For me, it would just be I would have to step in look more into the simple fact of this is my opportunity. I'm a top 300 player.
This is a top 3 receiver now. This guy's top 3.
Yeah, he's a top 3 or top 1, 3 or 4, or 1 or 2. So it's like I would have to take a look at that and see what is it I'm doing that I'm going there. Because let's be honest, just like we was just talking about the FCS and North Dakota State, you may not be the top dog in the big Division 1, but you could be a top dog somewhere else. And sometimes that's all you need to get you in the door, to where you get people that's looking at you and they start to look at your tangibles and the adaptable skills as opposed to just who you're playing and who you're playing against. So I don't think, and I have been a person that have been saying, like, I kind of agree with what Dion is trying to do as far as trying to get people at the HBCU saying that, they can compete as well. And that's what he's doing. But I think what it is that star power, in which hopefully it starts to transfer from, of course, Eddie George. He's a former all-star, Hall of Famer that's coaching as well. And maybe there's a trend that's starting to develop.
So for me, I kind of understand why kids are going to Jackson State. And this is what I think it is. I think it is the fact that it's who it is. It is Dion. And the fact of the matter, Dion has a huge following. A lot of players and coaches respect Dion. So if Dion has the top 300 players coming out of high school, if he has a few players coming out of high school that's ranked in the top 100 or top 300 or whatever, and a NFL coach comes to him and asks about, who is your star player that's on your team that's in the top 100, and Dion mentions your name, I feel like that can catapult you to get into the NFL as long as your numbers and your performance match what it is in which they're looking for. I feel like Dion's influence and his experience and his talent and what he knows about the game and all and the relationships he has with these coaches, former and current coaches, I feel like that plays a huge part on why a lot of players are going to Jackson State in hopes that Dion can be a highly influencer for them to be able to be picked up in the National Football League. That's my take. Ron, what you think?
When I think of what Dion's doing down there, I missed that comment.
My fear is anyone going to Jackson State right
Taylor
now.
Hates it.
So when it comes to the draft times, you have to go on against just cause you put up great numbers at the division doesn't mean you went up against Alabama.
But we do know some of the greatest players came from
HBCUs and lower divisions.
Mm-hmm. The Jerry Rices.
I see hell of a recruiter. I think it's really prime time just showing, hey, look what I can do. Now we're going to have to sit back and watch. Okay, let's watch you develop these young men, turn them into some exceptional stars and get them ready for the NFL. And we want to see how their career progresses over the next 3 years. I think that's the biggest key part is he's got the whole plan together. It is working. Now he just has to finish the product. And I think somebody's going to be writing Dion a very, very large check to come coach, maybe like out of Texas or Florida. I think this is going to be rocketing him off to being able to lead a power school. But, I mean, he's got 3 players from the top 300. I'm looking at the top recruits now, and like Ohio State got 6 in the top 30. Bama, Clemson got 5, 6. It's not going to be close when it comes to competition. I mean, They're not really going to be able to do much. He just got these couple of guys that's hopefully become transcendent at their positions.
Well, we all know Dion has already mentioned and have already stated numerous times that he's trying to get the FBCU teams just as much recognition as the HBU teams. So, his whole mission is to put them on the same level with the normal teams in the college arena. He's trying to make it an even playing field because of course we know HBCU teams aren't getting looked at nearly as much as the other teams in college football. So he's definitely trying to put, he's mentioned it numerous times that he's trying to get them all put on in the same pool. But with that, I personally feel like, Ron, that I feel like Dion he'll get an NFL coaching job before he get a D9 or a
Division One.
Division One. That's the word I'm looking for. Division One coaching job. That's just my thoughts. I think he'll go to NFL before he get a D1.
I think he's good for the kids, though. I would like to see him stay.
Oh, definitely a great mentor. Great person to coach these kids. I mean, if you've ever watched any of his previous shows before he was coaching, at HBCU,
Yeah.
He was coaching, from his own school. He had, he was the coach at his own school that he had primetime athletics or whatever. He was doing all of that. So I totally, he's a great mentor, a great coach. He's definitely an influencer to these
Right.
young kids. So I totally agree.
So to
He
go
had.
back,
Go ahead. My bad.
no, go ahead, no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say he has two jobs. Taylor said it's a 5 to 6 year plan. I think it's 2 to 3. Mamas is bringing these boys to him. Turn my boy into a man. That's his first job. And
Mm-hmm.
second job is from the young men's perspective is I want to become a star. Like you have to make sure these is going to be top 10 draft picks. These should be guys that the league is going to be looking at like we got to get these boys from Dion. That's his
Mm-hmm.
only two. If he does those two things, successful at Jackson State.
And see, going back into the fact that we like Ron Bishop was saying earlier about the fact that we talked about the military from a military or armed forces or service member aspect, where it went. Where comments just go? Freddie just was saying talking about how saying why he was a young private. There was an experience in which a Lieutenant Hill, when he first entered the military in 1983 as a light infantryman at Fort Ord 7th ID. I was impressed with decorated soldiers, but there was one individual that captured my attention, and he had every tab you can imagine, and he was the only black officer in the battalion at the time. He mentored me for 1 year on how to earn the tabs that I desired. Then PCS and never saw or heard from him again. I can't see the rest of it. So in that case, like we was talking about, is when y'all just like y'all was talking about the mentorship aspect of it, or even the fact of what we was talking about earlier, when you have someone that's doing things and showing you and telling you how to do things properly or successfully, it makes a difference into this factor of the matter in which we're talking about. That's probably similar, just like Ron was saying, like when a mother, particularly a mother of a young black student or potentially black star or something like that, that has had situations or wants to get out of certain situations, you look for people that look like you that are successful to hopefully help you out, so you don't feel, especially so you don't feel like they're using or you to benefit them. Not saying that anyone else does, but using to benefit them in a manner in which isn't conducive to that kid. So, saying continue. That's why I think, like you was just saying, Bishop and Ron, that's what I think Dion brings to the table. Like he's a man, he has the gift of gab, but the difference is he seemingly is backing it up, and he's a voice, a loud voice, a megaphone voice for those matters, especially when it comes to those considered minority or African Americans and lesser minorities, for what they say. So, of course, yes, shout out to Dion. Continue to do what you're doing, bro. Uh, and we hope you're successful. Of course, we're getting a little short in time, so moving on. We want to make sure that we get a conversation in for the NBA fans out there. Of course, you had the slate of 8 games last night. Correction, 12 games last night. The Spurs faced off against the Brooklyn Nets and were successful. Oh, correction. The Nets were successful with a 2-point win, 119 to 121. The Atlanta Hawks faced off against the Los Angeles Clippers, in which they were successful 106. The Clippers were successful 106 to 93. The Washington Wizards played against the Orlando Magic. The Wizards won 102 to 101. The Pelicans faced off against the Raptors, in which isn't too surprising. Well, the score was surprising enough. The Raptors were victorious 105 to 101. The Houston Rockets put up 123 points. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough, as the Minnesota Timberwolves were able to edge them out 141 to 123, high scoring game. The Denver Nuggets were successful 99 to 95 over the OKC Thunder. The Cleveland Cavaliers faced the Golden State Warriors, in which they lost 82 to 96 in the comeback game. For Klay Thompson, his beloved team members showed up in solidarity with Klay Thompson jerseys as they walked into the building. We'll get to that. The Chicago Bulls took an L to the Dallas Mavericks, losing 113-99. the Sacramento Kings faced off against the Portland Trailblazers, in which the Portland Trailblazers won 103-88. And of course, what goes up must come down for one of the teams. The Los Angeles Lakers was scrapped and drugged by the Memphis Grizzlies 119 to
Ja Morant.
127.
The wrath of Ja.
Ja Morant.
I see him go get that rebound, that block off.
That block, bro.
You know what? I think what's going on, what I think I'm seeing personally from Ja is the simple fact that he believes that he's the best, and ain't no one could tell him anything different. And
they can't.
It's starting to be where his opponents is starting to see it and believe it too, in which he's just growing and growing. Like he's a guy. He's definitely inserting himself into the MVP conversation. I mean, we all said DeMar DeRozan, but I think Ja is making a play for that in the Saoirse Derrick Rose type situation, in which, so I mean, of course, Ja is definitely making this way. But Klay, the biggest talk, Klay Thompson coming back last night. From what y'all seen last night, with Klay coming back.
That boy came back looking like what's his name? Uncle Drew with the little afro. He had his little afro going, looking like Uncle Drew.
Do y'all think this has just elevated the Golden State to a serious problem not in just the West, in the NBA?
Oh,
Ron, I see you shaking your head.
Being a problem. Oh, okay.
Being a problem. Okay. Ron, I see you shaking your head. Speak on it, fam.
Klay was not supposed to look as good as he did last night. I mean, he took it down the middle and dunked on two dudes, and that leg looked very healthy.
And that's not even Klay's thing. We know Klay don't dunk like that. That ain't even Klay's thing.
He was making a statement. Golden State, of course, is scary when you have the two best shooters that's ever played the game.
Splash.
What are we talking about? But we're gonna be talking about championships. Mm-hmm. Are they the clear-cut champions to predict right now? And I don't think it's the case, because I still don't think they're beating a healthy Lakers rosters. Anthony Davis is going to torch their power forwards and their centers. Draymond's going to be trying to struggle against him. Now, Anthony Davis is a 50-50 chance he's going to stay healthy. But if the Lakers ain't healthy, the West is theirs. But if I'm Golden State, I am getting Poole, Gary Payton II, Kuminga, all my talents, all them young guys. Oh, it's been fun, y'all. Y'all got to play with some winners, but we about to go pick up Bradley Beal. I feel like they should capitalize right now. If they ride it out, they can. Like we saw them do it already with Kevin Durant. Like once you get that third piece to go with Klay and Steph, the sky is the limit. Like you're going to be unstoppable to guard. But them boys ain't beating Brooklyn. Like if Kyrie, James Harden, and KD is all clicking, you can't keep up with that. And they not better than the Bucks. I'm still taking Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. Like they need that third piece. If Draymond was playing like the Draymond in 2016, 30-point triple doubles against LeBron, and he was still young, but Splash Brothers is back.
So you don't think Wiggins or even Poole are effective enough to float the ship with a lesser Draymond Green?
No way.
Okay.
Wow.
No way. We're talking Western Conference championships going up against either LeBron and AD or Chris Paul and what's my guy's name? Chris Paul and Booker. I could see them being Phoenix in 6 games, but I'm the Lakers. I think gonna give them a run for their money, and I'll ride with Lakers still with a healthy Klay coming back.
You still going with the Lakers? I don't know,
because those 4 in their prime, Draymond, Klay, and Steph, still needed Kevin Durant to take down LeBron. And if LeBron is rolling with a healthy AD.
But don't forget the Golden State Warriors won a championship without KD.
Yeah, it was LeBron and Davidola.
Yeah, they
Congrats,
won.
Golden State. Matthew Dellavedova. I can't even say his last name. Yeah, they beat him.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that it did happen. So I don't know, man. Clay, like you said, Clay coming out and first game debut, 17 points. Bro, like that's impressive. That's definitely impressive. I didn't see that coming out of Clay. He came in and the fact of the matter that he came in and like you said, Ron, and dunked like Clay, that is not his thing. Him coming up dunking the ball, that is not of Clay's caliber of doing things like that. And so for him to do that and come in and knock down 17 points, that says a lot. And if he can come back and do that on a regular, y'all better watch out for Golden State. Y'all better watch out for Golden State because it's about to go down. That means now Steph is about to find that range again. Now that Clay's back and the Splash Brothers is back in effect, bro. It's like
he still
getting the
got that
band back
heater.
together.
He was 3 of 8, but he still got that burner.
Mm-hmm. It's like bringing the band back together, making the band. They back at it. They back at it, bro.
They are back
it's
together.
early. It's early. It's early though. It's early. Just like I said before,
And
Trey. It's
Andrew
before that
Wiggins
happens.
is pretty much replacing what was the dude that they used to have, Barnes.
Barnes,
And that was a problem in 2016,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still a problem they got to address.
They still got Iguodala.
Yeah,
playoff Iggy.
Yeah,
Iggy.
But they need somebody that's like when Clay and Curry ain't clicking and scoring 40 points in a quarter, Clay Thompson to save them against Kevin Durant and them boys in OKC. They need to make a move. But
Facts.
if Gary Payton and Poole and those boys and Wiggins can put it together, it's different when you get to the playoffs and playing for them championships.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I still say, and I still feel it's early because we ain't at the All-Star break. We know the season really starts after the All-Star break. Once the All-Star breaks, it's come and gone. The season starts for the most part, for real. So
they could be so sexy right now. Y'all know who else is available? Is Spicy P out in Toronto. They've been talking about trading him. I would love to see.
For real?
Yeah. But the Toronto, they're playing good though. They're in the playoffs. They're looking okay. But
yeah,
they could be sexy right now. I want Golden State to shake it up.
Yeah.
Well, I hope there's not too much shaking going on. That's still our conference.
Yeah, I was about to say Golden State is definitely shaking it up out west now. The Utah and all of them, they nervous now. The Lakers.
Can I go on a quick rant about the Chicago Bulls?
Yes, please go ahead. Take us out. Go ahead.
Yeah, we definitely want to talk about these Bulls. Yeah.
I'm a Sixers fan, ride or die. We down right now, but the Chicago Bulls are really hyping up their train right now. They feel like they are that team. Trey, DeRozan better not get MVP this year. I'm gonna lose my mind because the Bulls is so overrated. They are last year's New York Knicks. They are fraudulent. And they're going to be going home in the first round of the playoffs because I don't think they're going to be keeping that first seed. They're going to drop to 3 or 4 and have to deal with the Heat or somebody. The Bulls, and they were very hot. And this week, they have the Mavericks, the Warriors, and Brooklyn Nets. And I was telling all Bulls fans, okay, we're getting to the real basketball. Let's see how y'all do this upcoming week when y'all got real competitors. And what? They lost by almost 30 points to the Mavericks last night. So, yeah, Bulls fans, can't wait to see how y'all feel Wednesday. And Kyrie, they're playing.
And he called him the New York Knicks of last year too.
I can't stand the Bulls.
What?
Y'all get Kyrie, KD, and James Harden on Wednesday, Bulls. Strap up. Let's see what y'all about.
Well, that's my squad. The Nets, that's my squad. So I'm all for the Nets winning, especially with Kyrie playing in the booth. Oh yeah, I'm all for that.
Them boys is dangerous.
But man, to hear you say that you feel like they a fluke. Ooh wee, bold statements from Ron on Monday, y'all. Bold statements. He say they a fluke. They a fly by night. Okay. But they did get thrashed. They got thrashed by the
Yes, in
Mavericks.
that game, it was a leading scorer was, of course, Luka Doncic with a triple double. Matter of fact, that's his 39 triple double, which puts him as the all time leader in triple doubles of a player that's before the age of 23.
Yeah.
Like you said, finished with 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 14 assists. The next closest person was Josh Green, 18.6 rebounds and 1 assist, as well as Maxi Kleber, 18 points. 4 rebounds and 2 assists. And for the Bulls, of course, the top scorers were Zach LaVine, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, as well as DeMar DeRozan with 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists. Of course, he had a dismal effort from the rest of the players. Only the next Kobe White and Nikola Vucevic finished were the only other players with double figures. Lonzo Ball finished with 9 points, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds. It was just a situation in which they was outplayed seemingly, and Dallas had more of an answer for the Bulls than they did. But I don't know, seeing that Dallas is now 22-18, the Bulls are now 26-11. When you look at it, there's really nobody that's like running off with it as it was at the beginning of the season. I think now you have a situation to where more and more teams are starting to kind of like, I ain't gonna say fizzle out. There's more teams starting to basically show that they're of equal stature. Even although the Bulls are 26-11, like you said, and in the East, leading the East, and the Warriors are 30-9, tied for 30-9, leading the West. So hopefully everything starts to where you get this season where there's not going to just be a clear runaway favorite, but there's some hard hitters out there, and hopefully the Lakers can catch the Mavericks, so that way we can get out this damn play in. That's what I dread to play in, especially for them. So I hope that's what comes on. So, gentlemen, of course, that's another show.
It's a wrap already? Good Lord, that was quick.
Back on this Monday, of course, like you said, Phil will be able to come back tomorrow, talk about me collecting another little couple of coins for the organization. As we look at the CFP, talk about more of the games, some of the games from last night, and take a look at and talk about a couple of things in NFL action as we get ready. Of course, we got a little time before we give our predictions for the first round of the playoffs, but of course, everything in due time for everything. Guys, before we out, y'all got any last words?
Man, real quick, man, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thank y'all so much, man, for tuning in to First Formation Morning Sports Talk Show, man. We thank you so much. We definitely appreciate all the comments, the love, the likes, the laughter, the everything, man. Without y'all, E2G Sports and First Formation wouldn't be what it is. So definitely shouts out to y'all. I salute y'all for coming on here early in the morning with us and to talk sports. So man, shouts out to y'all, man. Be sure to watch that game tonight. It's gonna be a barn burner. Believe that. Yeah, I'm going for I'm definitely going for the the Roll Tide. This is the one time I'm going on for them Roll Tides. So that Trey can go ahead and donate that money over to the organ which we need to donate it to. So yeah.
Ron, greatly appreciate you being on, bro. Greatly appreciate you being on, man. Any last words, brother?
Shout out to E2G Sports. It's always a blast starting the week off with y'all fellas. Hopefully we can keep this going.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Love the platform.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ron.
No problem, bro.
Appreciate you, Jack.
So, we greatly appreciate, everyone watching out. Of course, like you said, don't be too late to our formation tomorrow morning, same time, 9:09 in the morning, 11 in the morning, Central Standard Time. That is, or for those who are civilian, that's simply 9 a.m., 11 a.m. If you don't get military time or jargon, please be sure to check us out tomorrow morning and check out any of the E2G Sports shows that are laced throughout the evening. We have a couple of them, a good amount of them that's coming out. So please keep your ear to the ground so that way you can see these shows. This is your boy Trey, Bishop, and Ron. We'll see you in the morning. Group attention, fall out.
Roll